All right, this past weekend was UFC Seattle, a fight card full of all kinds of crazy finishes, crazy moments. It's actually a pretty good card from top to bottom. One fight that I had my eyes on for a while was this main event between Song Yadong and Henry Cejudo. Now, Henry Cejudo obviously getting up there in age. The guy is now 38, and it's kind of rare that you see a guy at the top of a division even entering in title challenging territory at that age. And you look back at his record, I mean, I didn't just think he was potentially going to show his age just because he's 38. He's also now, after this fight, on a 3-fight losing streak, with his last win coming almost 5 years ago. Funny enough, against Dominic Cruz, the infamous fight where to this day Dominic swears he smelled alcohol and cigarettes on the referee's breath, but nonetheless, that is Henry Cejudo's most recent victory. Funny enough, Dominic Cruz was also slated to fight in this card before pulling out due to yet another shoulder injury. The guy just can't catch a break. But when you dive in deeper to Henry Cejudo's last few fights, his last few losses, he had the split decision against Aljamain Sterling in a pretty competitive fight. When you look at the numbers right here, Aljamain very much outstruck him, and Aljamain outgrappled him, which at the time was kind of crazy. I mean, Henry Cejudo being the Olympic gold medalist, no one's really going into his fights expecting him to get outgrappled. And then along came the Merab Dvalishvili fight, where the wrestling exchanges were even more lopsided. Henry Cejudo getting taken down a total of 5 times in that fight, after previously only getting taken down 1 time in his career, way back against Mighty Mouse. This fight against Song was kind of the epitome of put up or shut up. If Henry isn't able to get the job done here, then I just don't see him getting back into any conversation regarding a title again. And for as short as this fight was, since it got stopped early due to that eye poke. And speaking of which, that eye poke was pretty serious. Somehow people decided to start booing Cejudo after this. Here you watch it back in slow motion. For sure, an eye poke, 100% fingers straight into his eye. As you can see, his weight is kind of coming into it. He's lunging into an eye poke, which is not good, right? Seattle being a place that doesn't get a whole bunch of UFC cards, especially these days. I understand the fans wanting to see a little bit more. It always is going to suck to have the main event end like this. You didn't get to see a full fight, though it went 3 rounds. And because it went 3 rounds, it was ruled a technical decision, going back to the scorecards, where Song Yadong, who up to this point was able to outstrike Henry, won unanimous decision 29-28. It's kind of unfortunate for Song. I think it would have been nice for him if the story from this fight, the big takeaway, was the fact that Song looked very good in there. Guy is a really high-level striker. And Henry even talked about it after the fight, that his eye was really messed up bad, and he knew that as dangerous as Song is, if he goes back in there with only one eye and he gets caught by something on his weak side, Song has the kind of power that would have seriously hurt him. And again, it would have been nice if the takeaway was that Song looked really good for the first few rounds here. But I think that for most people, the takeaway is that Henry probably doesn't have it anymore, which it's kind of conflicting, because on one hand, Henry looked really good. Henry was very fast. He was faster and more light in his feet than I expected him to be. And that was only in the first couple rounds, so you really never know, right? If it goes a full 5, by the time we get to midway through the 4th or late in the 5th round, is he still going to be that same guy? Is he going to start tired out maybe a little faster than usual because of his age? But we can only judge what we saw. And what we saw was Henry looking pretty good. But that right there is the problem. Henry looked pretty good. There was never a point in this fight where I felt like Henry looked like he was even inching towards displaying any dominance against Song. And I think it's kind of a mixture of the 135-pound division growing a lot. I mean, I would say right now it's probably the most skilled division in the UFC, and Henry not being who he used to be. I kind of think even if this eye poke didn't happen, you saw the way he got poked in the eye. He lunged into Song's hand. It's terrible that it was an eye poke, but I think if the fight kept going the way it was going, he could have lunged in again later down the line, and maybe instead of getting poked, caught a mean right hand to the face and gotten seriously hurt, maybe even knocked out. So again, I don't think Henry looks like he is going to be a title challenger anymore. And if you think back, the reason he came back to the UFC after his hiatus was to fight against Volk. He wanted to try to become the first ever 3-division champion. Dana said no to that, and Henry was pretty adamant, at least for a while before he decided to come back to 135, that he wanted to fight Volk because that was the only guy he was motivated to fight. And obviously in hindsight, that was a negotiation tactic, but still, I don't think there's anyone out there who is ranked lower than Song that is going to give Henry any extra motivation to get out there and prove anything. Because if he beats a guy like that, I don't know that he does prove anything. We already know that he has the potential within him, or at least did at a time, to be the greatest of all time, maybe at that weight class. But that's not something he's even going to have an opportunity to prove against someone lower in the rankings. Now, I would say he could stick around for another fun fight out there. But as of today, we just found out that the biggest name in this division is now more than likely, it might have even been confirmed, will be fighting for the title again. And yeah, I'm going to have to make a whole video dedicated to breaking down how insane this is, assuming it is true. But if I'm Henry and there's not even a big money fight out there, an exciting fight against Sean O'Malley, I honestly don't think there's anything else out there for him. So yeah, I think that as disappointing as it was, you know, the way the fight ended, I think that was very likely to be the last time that we see Henry Cejudo. Maybe, just maybe, if he really wants to stick around, I wouldn't mind Dominic Cruz unretiring himself for one more go at Henry Cejudo. Get two bantamweight legends in there and maybe give them both a proper send-off. Let me know in the comments below what you guys think about this fight. What do you think Henry Cejudo should do next? Should he keep fighting? Should he hang it up? And yeah, thanks for watching. Peace.